as well as to the Premier. Speaker, the Premier has no mandate from the people of Ontario. She is presiding over the largest political scandal in Ontario's history, and a new opinion poll says Ontarians want an election over the gas plant scandal. It says somebody should be thrown in jail over this $1.1 billion scandal. And I believe those results, Speaker, because when I'm in Osgoode or Coors or North Gore or Nepean, the same people that are being asked in these polls are telling the same thing to me. They think they ought to be thrown in jail. Voters have lost confidence in this Liberal Party. It seems the only person with any confidence in this Liberal Party is the leader of the New Democrats, who, by the way, sat idly while that party canceled slots at the racetrack program in Fort Erie and in Reno Carlton. And my question is, if this legislature adopts our opposition motion next Wednesday that says that voters have lost trust in your party, will you...
Thank you.
House Leader.
You know, Mr. Speaker, it's a little bit much that the Leader of the Opposition, the members of the Progressive Conservative Party, have stood up and made all this noise about wanting to clear the decks and get on with legislation involving employment, involving creating jobs for Ontarians. Right now we have Bill 105 in front of the legislature, Mr. Speaker, and instead of finishing the debate on 105 and allowing it to proceed to the next stage, they're engaging in all sorts of efforts to delay. They're bringing forward these mischievous motions, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Member knows that under the standing orders of this legislature, this is simply a stunt by the opposition. Well, Mr. Speaker, it's time that the opposition starts to focus on jobs for the province of Ontario. Let Bill 105, which lowers taxes for small business, go through, and stop focus.
Thank you. Supplementary.
I'd like to go back to the Premier of Ontario because this relates directly to the confidence and the trust the people of this province have in her. The Forum research poll was quite clear. People don't view them as a trusted government. They view them as a bunch of criminals.
Minister of Transportation, come to order.
It's important that this goes to a vote.
Attorney General, come to order.
It is important that this motion be listened to. This is a Premier who would prefer to set up panels across the province so that everyone in the province is on one, so she can feel that she's having a conversation. But what we learn in those conversations, particularly at the Justice Committee, Speaker, is that their government is at the very root of a very corrupt scheme in Oakville and Mississauga. And
stop the clock for a moment, please. I'm trying to do my job, so I don't need armchair quarterbacks, and I heard what the member said. And I'm not impressed again. We will stay away from any references to any member in this place as involved in criminality, and I'm asking the member to stay away from that. Carry on.
Thanks. Now that the Liberals are ignoring Ontarians and their wishes, and the NDP continues to prop them up, I'd like to know what she has promised the NDP in order to prop them up. And next Wednesday, when our party puts forward our motion, I'd really like to know, Premier, if you are...
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Government House Leader.
You know, Mr. Speaker, they can't have it both ways. They can't stand here in the House and say over and over again that the cancellation of the power plants was the worst thing to befall civilization since the plague or the Macarena, and forget the fact that they stood up, Mr. Speaker, they stood up in the campaign aggressively and said, vote for us and the power plants will be canceled, that their candidates had robocalls and flyers and tweets, that they went door to door saying, vote for a progressive conservative government and the plants will be canceled. Mr. Speaker, it was a promise they made and a promise we kept. It was a promise that was made by every single party in this legislature, and the honourable member cannot deny that fact.
Thank you. Be seated, please. Be seated, please. Thank you. Order. Final supplementary.
Back to the Premier of Ontario.
Mr. Transportation and Infrastructure, come to order.
Respond to the opposition's questions over a very important matter of trust and confidence. She has lost their confidence and never was able to get it in the first place because she has no mandate from the electorate. Not only will I debunk what this government House Leader has said with respect to the Oakville gas plants, I have the words from the Auditor General, as does the rest of the people of this province. You are behind that Oakville power plant cancellation. You cost the taxpayers of this province $1.1 billion, and I want to know from the Premier's own mouth, will she listen to our confidence motion next week? Will she tell the people of the province that she will listen to them when they don't trust her? Premier, yes or no? Will you have the courage of your conviction to stand in this place and tell us you'll respect the vote of this House next week or not?
Thank you. Thank you. Government House Leader.
You know, first of all, Mr. Speaker, it's not a
Member from Prince Edward Hastings, second time. Carry on.
Mr. Speaker, first of all, it's not a confidence motion. The member knows that. But you know, Mr. Speaker, I direct the member to go to the website of Mayor Rob Burton of Oakville. He has a section called Timeline related to this. And let me quote, you'll want to hear this. On September 25th, 2011, this is what I'm quoting, PC leader Tim Hudak says the Oakville power plant cancellation cost $1 billion and suggests...
Because you were yelling so loud you didn't hear me, even with my mic on, the member from Stormont will come to order. Carry on.
And suggests the Mississauga power plant cancellation may cost another $1 billion. On October 5th, 2011, on the day before the provincial election,
come to order.
In front of the still under construction Mississauga power plant, PC leader Tim Hudak promises to stop the power plant if he wins the election after only days before warning that he's sure it may cost another $1 billion, Mr. Speaker. That is the testimony of Mayor Rob Burton of Oakville, and I invite the honourable member to check out that website.
New question. The third party.